Hello, my name is Dr. Maya Byfield. My business is The Phenomenal STEMist. I'm so excited to be here in Orange County because it's where I live. I live in Apopka, Florida. And I decided to make this business because I saw a need for underrepresented students to be successful in STEM, which stands for science, technology, engineering, math. And the best way I can do that is just provide products for parents to prepare them, whether it's a book or online STEM camps or just video podcasting. My goal is to transform this community, especially those who are underrepresented. And the way to do that is to help parents understand their children's minds and basically develop them at different stages of their lives to be prepared for a successful STEM career. Thank you so much. That's why I'm here.
Hello, 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 everyone. Good evening. It's the Phenomenal STEMist. We're talking about the 5 stages of an economic bubble. But before I do that, I always gotta plug my very important book. The Phenomenal STEMist is available on Amazon now. Like I said, if you want to prepare your child in STEM, from the womb to university, get this book. Get this book. If you know anybody who has children that they're interested in STEM, this book provides a little guide for parents in preparing their students. You could also please, if you're watching, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Dr. Maya Byfield. You can find me on all platforms. You can find me on all platforms. And specifically, you can find a way to educate your kid in STEM outside of just the book through STEM camps, etc. Find me on www.phenomenalstemist.com. All right. Okay, beautiful people, that the homework is done. It's time to talk about phenomenal financial freedom. Here, I'm going to discuss the 5 stages of an economic bubble. You heard bubbles before, like housing bubbles and stock market bubbles. Like, what's a bubble? So the first thing is to define what a bubble is, right? So a bubble is when the whatever asset market is just surging. So I'll read the definition. A basic characteristic of financial bubbles is the suspension of disbelief by most participants when the speculative price surge is occurring, right? So basically, price surges, like things are just going out of socket. Like a house that used to cost 100,000 is now 200,000. Next year is 300,000. Next year is 400,000. Like you just don't believe that the price is going out of market value. Same thing for the stock market. The stock market is just increasing, just like any bubble. You blow a bubble, and the bubble just keeps on going up to the point where it's gonna destroy. It's gonna pop, but you don't believe it's gonna pop. You keep staying in, and then it pops, and it's the worst. It just goes back to small. So a bubble is inflation of prices of basic assets. So here's another key takeaway. It's generally a situation where the price of something, whether it be a stock, a financial asset, an entire sector, an entire market, an entire asset class is way more. It exceeds the fundamental value of the margin. So it's just worth it. Like it's cost more than what it's really worth. When I was here in Florida back in 2006, I moved here in '07. The prices of houses from 2003, let's say Charlie just happened, just surged. By the time it we found out that all these houses were worthless, it was 2008 and the market crashed because there was a housing bubble. What was happening? People living in Florida were only making a few $1,000s a year, yet their houses was costing $300,000 and it was overpriced. That's what a bubble is. So, are we in a bubble? Are we on a stock market bubble? Are we in an economic bubble? Are we in a housing bubble? I'm not going to say whether we are. I told you in the beginning of this that I'm not a I'm not a financial analyst. I just read. I read and I share. So I'm reading from Investopedia, the 5 stages of a bubble. 5 stages of a bubble. Number one, 5 stages. How do you know you're in a bubble? And what are the stages? Last week we talked about the stages of a bear market. Now I'm talking about the stages of a bubble. Number one, displacement. Displacement. What is that? Well, investors are so enamored by something new. I remember when I was, I've lived through multiple bubbles. I've back in 1999 when the internet was brand new. There was the .com bubble. Everybody was having their own internet website, and everybody was getting invested in, and everybody was raising money for, and then they found out that it was trash, right? So when there's something is innovative, right? And people are just enamored by it. Classic example of displacement, it says the decline of the federal funds rate from 6.5 to 1.2, right? Innovative technology, interest rates that are historically low. People get enamored by something new, such as a new technology or something that is historically low. Everybody's excited about it, everybody jumps in on it. And unfortunately, some of us are always the last people to get in. Displacement. Number two, there is a boom. So number one, the first thing that happens is something that is new. You have a new technology, you have housing prices that are really low. There's an opportunity to get in. So a whole bunch of people see this opportunity, this new opportunity, and they jump in. That's the first stage. Stage some of y'all jumping in too late. Stage two, this is the time to jump in. If you're going to jump in a bubble, you start at the displacement. When you see something new, we're living in a time where what's new? Artificial intelligence is new. This we're in a post-pandemic period. What's new? Number two, boom. Prices start to slowly rise and they gain momentum. So you're starting to see prices rise. Stock market prices rise, housing prices rise. Whatever the asset class is, they're starting to see something. They're starting to see momentum. Like, wow, this stock market is going up. The Bitcoin is going up. Something is going up. Number three, stage three, euphoria. Everybody's excited. During this phase, people are just throwing caution to the wind and jumping in. I'm not gonna say what bubble, the common bubbles, but you know what's going on. There's a new technology that's displacing something else. People start to invest into it early. You're starting to see the price rise, and then all of a sudden, there's nothing that can destroy it. Bubbles pop, guys. Bubbles always pop. So be careful during the euphoria stage. That's when things are. Remember when Bitcoin was $25,000? How much is Bitcoin now? How much is Bitcoin now? I don't even know. Not to say that it's not a investment, but Bitcoin is $20,000. Must have been $60,000 then. Hold on. Oh, so I've seen it at $40,000. Let's see, what's the highest that I've seen it? Um, the highest that I've seen it is $58,000 in 1 year. Let's see if I can get any higher than that. Let's see. The highest that Bitcoin has been is $61,000. There was a point of euphoria, and they boosted around what it in 2020. In 2020, it was $9,000. So if you got in when people were talking about it in 18, like, ooh, 2018, there's this thing called Bitcoin. It's gonna displacement. Ooh, let's get in $9,000. It jumped to $60,000. Right now, it's at $20,000. Talking about a pop. There was a time in 2020 where people were home and watching videos, not doing real research. They were just throwing their money, throwing their their cash that they got from the government. They're throwing it into a euphoric investment. Be careful. Be careful doing euphoria. I don't invest during euphoria. I tend to slow up during euphoria. When everybody's scared, that's when I jump in. Number four, profit taking. So I'm sure people who bought Bitcoin for $9,000. Let's say they got one Bitcoin for $9,000. They sold zero point 0.5 of that Bitcoin when it was at 60 and got $30,000 cash. Ooh, what a profit! What a profit! Can you imagine buying one Bitcoin for $9,000? That took a big risk. Like, who was gonna buy something like that for $9,000? Somebody did, and they made $60,000 as a result. A year later, in their mind, let me get my 9,000 back. Let me sell point something worth of Bitcoin, or let me sell half a Bitcoin, get $30,000. Ooh, boy, that's crazy. Yeah, I didn't get involved because I bought some Ethereum at 2018, but I didn't jump on Bitcoin's bandwagon. I didn't. And I don't know if I made the right decision or not, but all I'm saying is it's a big, huge bubble, and people took profit. People took profits at the height. They started selling. They started to heed certain warning signs. It's like, okay, what does this really mean? And they started to sell. And now in 2022, if you bought a Bitcoin at the price of $60,000, you lost almost you lost a lot of your money because now it's only worth $20,000. If you start seeing euphoria, just know profit taking is coming. Lastly, people start panicking. People start panicking because now your stock is dropping, your house is dropping, is underwater, your Bitcoin prices are dropping, all your assets are dropping. Think about 2008 when the stock market crashed because of the housing bubble. Basically, when Lehman Brothers went belly up, people went crazy. If something like such a great institution can go belly up, then anybody's company can go belly up, and I can lose all my money that I've been invested for the past 30 years. Imagine somebody working at Lehman Brothers and putting their stock in Lehman Brothers rather than diversifying, they put all of their stocks in their company so that when Brothers went bankrupt, they lost all their money. And I'm sure people start panicking. They start panicking. So don't panic. Don't panic. Be careful of bubbles. Yo, be like a vulture. True stock market people are they dollar cost average. Basically when it's high, it doesn't matter. When it's low, it doesn't matter. Me, I put my money in the account. I don't necessarily buy, but I dollar cost average in the account. So when it's time to be a vulture, I can be a vulture. Pick up the dead pieces. Buy low, hold to your old, sell high. That's my mantra. So I'm not gonna sell because everybody's selling, everybody's panicking. When everybody's panicking, I look for opportunities. Hmm. Yep. All right. Well, thank you for watching. I hope that you have an understanding of the 5 stages of a bubble. First thing is something new comes on the scene and displaces something. Second, people start getting attracted to that new thing. Boom it. They start buying it, and then they tell everybody about it, and it's all over the news, all over social media. Everybody gets excited. Everybody jumps in without doing any research, right? But then people start to get fishy smell tests like, hey, this is not how it works. This doesn't seem realistic. And so people start taking profits, but they're not telling you about it. They're silently taking profits, and the stock market starts to crash, or the housing market. They sell the house at the high or whatever. The point is, they take their profits, and then people start to realize whatever that they bought is not worth it, and then they start panicking and selling to get the best profit they can until bubble bursts. Pop. That's how the bubble bursts. It inflates and inflates and inflates until it pops. And those of you who didn't sell when you had a chance, you lose. Yeah, be careful. Do your research. Get professional advisement. All right. Good to see you guys. I'm Phenomenal Stemmis. You have a good night. 5 stages of an